Today we're going to tell you all about our brand new for 2025 Origin step for climbing. Our new Origin climbing system gives you a much smaller, lighter, and more compact way to mobile hunt while using a mobile tree stand or while hunting out of a saddle. And the best thing about our system is that there are no sticks. There are so many reasons why I believe that sticks were a step backwards in our mobile hunting journey. If you want to hear more why I believe that, hit the subscribe button or follow us on any of our social media. And if you already believe that, do us a favor, share this video to get the word out. Appreciate y'all watching. Okay, today I'm going to do a 10-step climb unedited and go through the process of how it works while I'm climbing and kind of just talk to you along the way so you can get an idea of the time it's going to take and the overall process. But first, I'm going to go into some details about the Origin step and how to use it. Okay, the first thing I'm going to show you is the most important, and that's how to step on the step. This is the most important thing to maintain stability. The most important thing while stepping on the step is to keep your foot in contact with the tree. Basically stepping on the side of the tree as you step on the step, and this is going to help a tremendous amount with stability. As your foot gets further away from the tree, the stability on the step is going to decrease. So you have to make sure you maintain contact with the tree on the way up and on the way down. And that's the most important thing. The second thing you want to make sure of is that the step is centered in the arch of your foot. The area where your heel is on your boot, you can have that up against the side of the step, and that kind of helps to grab the step even more to keep your foot from moving around. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is how to hold and attach the step. This is going to be the difference between climbing in less than 10 minutes or climbing in 15 minutes or more. For reference, I'll put a video around here somewhere of me climbing with 10 platform steps and attaching my ring of steps in less than 5.5 minutes, which is really fast. The Origin steps attach and work the same as the platform step, with the big difference being that the Origin steps were designed specifically for climbing, and they're much more user-friendly for climbing. Okay, you start the process by putting the steps away. I repeat, you start the process by putting the steps away the same way every time. That way, when you pull them out of the bag and you go to climbing, it's all right there ready, exactly how you need it. Okay, I'm going to start by holding the step this way. The part that faces the tree faces me, and I have my friction hitch on the right side because I'm right-handed. And that's so once I get this around the tree, I have my right hand to use the friction hitch and get that on there as smoothly as possible. I'll show you how to put the step together that way a little bit later. But for now, putting the step away, I'm holding the step like this. I have maybe a little over of an inch gap between there. That way, when I reach around the tree, I can grab it. I'll show you that later as well. But I'm going to put this all the way up against the step, holding it this way, and I'm going to wrap this around here. I don't want to be above that tri-glide. I don't want to wrap in that. We're going to hold that down. We're going to go over that. And I'm going to bring my friction hitch around, and I'm going to hold that friction hitch with my finger. That way I can wrap the rope around that friction hitch, something like that. And it's a nice and loose wrap. Put it in the bag, you can pull it out, and it may or may not be together, but most likely it's going to stay together. And then even though it's a real loose wrap, that way when you pull it out and you turn it over, that can fall just right off. And then that makes it really easy to go to the attaching part. So I'll show you that one more time. Holding it this way, pushing this thing up against here. I've got my friction hitch all the way up to the end, all the way up to the part where it's double buried. I'm going to roll that around there, and then this portion up here with the rope, I'm going to hold it and wrap this part loosely so it's below the tri-glide, and then that way it's not going to get hung up on that thing and it can just fall off when you need to attach. That's how I like to do it. Seems to be working right now fairly well. You find an easy way to do that? Let me know. Again, we're going to start with about an inch of rope between the attachment point and the step. That way I can get my fingers in there real easy as I reach around the tree. So if I'm right-handed, starting with the part of the step that faces the tree, facing me, and the friction hitch on the right side. If I'm left-handed, it's just the opposite. Friction hitch is going to be on the left side. So we're going to start holding the friction hitch in my right hand, reaching around the tree, grabbing the attachment in between my index and middle finger. And then ideally, as I bring that around, I'm only bringing enough rope to just get that attached and have just enough. And I'm going to hold this in, then I'm going to pull this into the rope, and I'm going to slide that part with my right hand. Push down on the step, and that's it. Okay, about the steps being tight. This step has been stepped on 3, 4, 5 times or more. And you can see I can pull it off of the tree probably close to 2 inches, 1.75 inches at least. With that step that far off of the tree, still all you do is push down on the step to get it to right at the bottom of that V. The rope goes around the tree, and where it comes to the front, it goes down at a V. And that step rides at the bottom of that V, the way we have it designed to somewhat grab the tree and for the rope to keep the step all the way up against the tree. When you step all the way against the tree, all you have to do is step against the tree, and that thing isn't going anywhere. And you can even put a good bit of side pressure on there, and the thing still doesn't move unless you have some kind of crazy bark. As long as you're against the tree and the arch of your foot, this step isn't going anywhere. Okay, just a couple more things I want to show you before we get to climbing. And that it's pretty important is how to put the steps together. So depending if you're right-handed or left-handed, you could do it different. I'm going to have the side of the step that faces the tree. I'm going to have it face me. I'm right-handed. I'm going to put the loop end of the rope through the step this way. And I'm pulling that through. Now I've got part that faces me. The rope goes through, the friction hitches on the right side, and now we have the loop on the other side. And now I'm going to attach this to this part. If you're left-handed, you would do it just the opposite. With the step, part of the step facing me, put that through there, and that's it. Then as you hold the step, with the step facing you, the friction hitch will be on your left side. We're just attaching these attachment points with a half hitch. So with the tri-glide, we're going to put it through one side, put it through one opening, and we're going to go back through the other side like that. We have it in one side and out the other. And then we're just going to take this part and we're going to flip it back over itself. And then that's just going to pull through, and we're going to tighten this up. And that's how you that's how you half hitch this tri-glide to your rope. Do that the same exact way even after you put your stealth strips on. Little late addition to this video. Our new little attachments are now ready. So we're going to have them sent out and third-party tested because these parts are from the manufacturer. They weren't prototype pieces that we had made before, so we can't ship these until we have them third-party tested. But we're not sure if there's going to be 2 wraps of stealth strips around the little piece or just one. So, but I'm going to show you how to take off the tri-glides and how to put these things on for those who already have them, or you can just see how to put them on if you're getting new attachments. Okay, first thing I'll show you is how to take this thing back off, and it's just the opposite of what we did to get it on. The little portion in the back where it's doubled, you just pull that out. You just pull that portion out, and then you just flip it back over itself, and then you just pull it back through. Okay, I'm going to go inside and show you how to put the stealth strip on our new little attachment piece. We have an 8-inch piece of stealth strip right now. We're going to wrap it 2 times around here, but you may end up getting half of this depending on how it tests. We may only have to wrap it around 1 time. So, but for now I'm going to show you how to wrap it around 2. And if you only get half of this, 4 inches, it will only go around 1 time. So stay tuned. Okay, we're going to start taking this back off. It's really difficult, to be honest, time consuming. Then we are going to take this piece and we're going to center this little piece in the middle of that the best we can. We're going to push that over, and then we're going to just try to keep this centered the whole way down, tucking these in here in these corners, keeping it in the middle the whole way down. And then as we go, we're folding these ends over. So just fold those little ends over as you're going down, keeping that in the center best you can the whole way up, pushing in those little crevices, keeping it in the center, pushing the sides in, and then we just go around, do the whole thing over again a second time, folding the sides in, and that is basically it. That's what you got. Now, these little wings, you can either leave them or you can clip them off, but we don't want to take too much off. I think these are going to come a little bit wider, so there may be a little bit more left there. You can just take that and just cut that corner off just a little bit, and makes a pretty good size difference on how that looks when you're done. Just a little cleaner, a little smaller. That's it, a finished piece. Now let me show you how to attach that. Okay, if you remember the instructions on putting the rope through the step, this is right, for a right-handed guy. So now what I'm going to do with this, it's still the same half hitch. It's just a little bit different because this is a bar. So we're just going to spin that around and make that loop just like that. Show you again slow. This loop is coming back over itself, and then you're folding them to make a little double loop through there. One more time. You can always rewind the video. This is very, very important. There's our loop. Putting it back. Putting those in 2, making a little loop. And we're putting that in the center of that loop. pulling that tight. You don't want any twists in this. These two little pieces you're going to want straight across through there. You can see there's nothing, no twists in there. Nice and straight, half hitch. But we're going to have it tested to 10,000 compressions. So if you can step on this thing 10,000 times and not have an issue, then I don't think there's going to be an issue. I want to show you about attaching this thing. It's the same as the other attachment as far as getting that in between your index and middle finger. Bring it around just big enough. Get that in there. Attach it, push it down. One last thing on these, once you push it down before you step on it, you just want to make sure that that piece is straight up and down there. You don't want it turned that way. You want that basically to be like a lock, straight up and down before you step on the step. Once you load it, and if you do step on this, it's already loaded and it's not going to be a big deal. You just want to go ahead and start with it facing that direction. Okay, one last thing I want to show you is how these new ropes will stretch the first couple times you use them. Now, if you remembered, I showed you where the steps doesn't actually have to be tight, and they don't have to be tight, so you can climb them. You can use the steps as soon as you get your ropes. They're just going to be a little bit looser after you step on them the first couple times. But if you want them a little bit tighter, you can stretch them before you climb with them. So let me show you the difference with the brand new rope. Okay, now I've tightened that up, and I can pull the step maybe a 1/4 inch off. When I push down and set it, now I can pull that step 1.5 1 3/4 inches away from the tree. So what we can do is just slide that back up. A lot of that, I think, is that friction hitch initially. Tighten that up, pull it down again. Now we're only about 3/4 inch. So I think if you do that a few times, it really helps to get the stretch out. So now we're about 1/2 inch away from the tree. You can see that we're about 1/2 inch away from the tree. So I'm going to step on that, see what happens. Give it a little hop action. Now we're about 1.5 inches away from the tree. So we probably would have been more had we not done that first little re-pull. So let's put that thing back together and put it on a second time. Push down on that, about 3/4 off maybe. About 1.5 inches again. So let's try that one more time. Take it off, put it all away. About the same distance. It's a little over 1 inch. So the moral of that story is they don't stretch a whole lot, but they do stretch a little bit, but they don't have to be tight. They're not designed that way. So enough of that. Let's get to climbing. All right, we're going to climb this maple today. This is a pretty typical size tree. I'm going to start by putting this strap around my waist. I really recommend using these bags. We are going to have these steps without the bags, but the bag was designed specifically for this, and it does work fantastically, really. Your first 3 steps you're going to put up on the ground. And the first one, the spacing between the steps is going to be about the distance of your leg, the bottom of your foot to your knee. So your first step is going to be about knee high. Whether you start with your left or your right foot, just kind of depends. You can throw your leg up there to see where that is, that distance, and have that next one right there at knee high. And then jump up and get that third one. And you'll see that's going to be a little bit over my head. So 3 feet, I'm going to be about 3 steps, I'm going to be about 6 feet. And that distance of your knee is going to be, you're going to repeat that all the way up the tree. So as you're putting up 2 steps at a time, you'll repeat those 2 distances. You guys have me nervous. Just kidding. Okay. So this distance is going to be my knee and then a little over my head. And then we're going to repeat up in sets of 2 as we climb the rest of the way up the tree. You can put your am steel down between your lineman's belt. It's on the outside. It's going to give you, you're going to have to put it inside as you go climbing. It kind of can get tangled up, and that's kind of a pain in the butt. So just make sure you put your am steel inside your lineman's belt as you step up. And then be just a lot easier. That step is a little bit of a stretch. I'm probably a little more than, or right at, maybe a little bit more than 2 feet in between each steps, which is kind of a stretch. But the 10 steps is going to get you 20 feet. So if you want to stretch a little bit, ASTM recommends 18 inches. But once you get this system down and you hold the steps the same way, you put them on the same way, you get your routine down. This is like a new rope. It becomes pretty simple. And put your am steel inside your alignments. You won't have to mess with that. And those ropes just falling off there real easy. It's when you put them away, the way like I talked, they just come off real easy. And this tree being really small, it's kind of harder for me to just get just so the right rope as I bring it around the tree. Maybe I'll try to pay a little better attention on this next one. And that clanking would go away if I had stealth strips on there. I don't have my buckles stealth stripped for some reason. But it doesn't take a whole lot of energy. So that's 9 steps up. And I'm going to climb just using 10. So at this point, I would put on my last step and either my ring of step or my tree stand, depending on what I was going to put on. So I'll throw this one on so we can get kind of a rough idea on time. It's probably around, maybe around 6 minutes or so. It's pretty quick, really. So I've got this guy on below knee level, and then my ring of steps I would put just right here, or my tree stand I would sit on this side, and the side of my tree stand would line up with this step. I've got a video coming out where I'm going to show attaching the ring of steps from this point, and I'm also going to show attaching or hanging my tree stand from this point, but I'm going to do it at ground level, standing on the bottom 2 steps, just to make it a little bit easier to film. So stay tuned for the next ones. Let us know what you think. Yeah, like and subscribe. I appreciate it.